Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, we have another great show for you tonight, boys, so let's get it started. Boys, we start with the New England Patriots. We have to go back before we can go forward. That game, that was painful to watch the Patriots play the Colts. Nothing seemed to go right, and when it did start to go right, it was too late.
You know, this game reminded me of the Miami game, where Miami just came out with and moved right down the field, and the Patriots just looked flat and like dull or flat. They just weren't ready.
Yeah, definitely. The break did not treat them well. Bill Belichick, all he does, boys, is talk about special teams. Every guy he drafts has to have some kind of special team skills. Well, we've gotten 3 punts blocked this year. The team in second place has only had 1 blocked. You can't do that. Like Russ, you said in a text during the game, you get a punt blocked, it goes back for a touchdown. You must lose that game every time.
Yeah, I don't know the statistics, but my guess is that a punt block, kick return, special teams touchdown probably correlates with a pretty massively losing record in those games.
95%.
Right?
Yeah, has to be.
The guy came in unblocked, completely unblocked.
Yeah.
Well, Jakob Johnson was supposed to block him, but he just whipped.
Is it that, and that's coaching. I'm sorry. We've seen enough in football to know. Joe Judge did a great job when he was here. We've had great special teams coaches. I don't even know who the special teams coach is, but he needs to go.
Yeah. That's
Josh couldn't help them any either. Well, it was basically 3 and out the first 4 possessions. Really poor game plan by Josh.
2 weeks to prepare.
Yeah.
2 weeks to prepare.
He wasn't prepared. Josh prepared him with a terrible game plan. They were behind 20-0.
Where do you think went wrong? Both teams had a bye week, so everybody it was an even playing field.
Interestingly, I read today in the Boston Sports Journal, I think it was Greg Bedard said that they did not have a padded practice between their last game and Colts game. They chose not to, and that's a long time between hitting guys. And now all of a sudden you're in enemy territory. It's loud in there and you're getting the snot knocked out of you. And it took them a while to wake up. It was like smelling salts, whatever they were doing at halftime. They woke up in the second half, but it was too late.
For a team with such massive offensive and defensive lines, they got pushed around in that game, and they got pushed around against Tennessee too.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Mac Daddy, for a rookie, God bless him, coming out in the press conference and criticizing the team, saying strangely that they were basically bitching and moaning during the week about not having all these days for the bye week.
Yeah, there was something going on. Clearly, there was enough smoke about their preparation for that game that clearly something was wrong, with the system in that week. And Belichick's a big believer. You play how you practice, and it didn't sound like they practiced very well.
Sounds like the veterans wanted a little more free time and didn't get it, and
kind of loafed. Yeah. By the way, though, this game is also support for you. Kind of go as your quarterback goes, right? Like Mac only played 25 minutes of a good ball game. You have a 60-minute game. He only played well for 25 minutes. And we paid the price for some mistakes he made in a big, big way.
Yeah, this has really been about turnovers this year. If you lose the turnover battle, you lose the game. That's how it's worked out. The 2 interceptions sure didn't help.
Now, does this kind of play, though, with how the NFL is going? I mean, Detroit just beat who did they
Arizona.
They just beat Arizona. It seems this year, week to week, boy, every week there's a couple of big surprises out there, where the Patriots just do kind of from a, it's your turn to have a bad week kind of thing. Do you think that
Timmy,
the norm of the NFL?
I'm glad you brought that up, Timmy, because one of us actually thought that their time was up and that they were on a good run. And one of us actually predicted a loss. I predicted my bad. I only predicted a 4-point loss. They lost by what, 7?
Oh my God. You want to take a victory lap now and we'll just sit here and wait?
Isn't someone supposed to be wearing the number 10 shirt without the name Jones on the back?
All right. All right, Joseph. You're skating on thin ice, Joseph. You just watch yourself.
All of a sudden, Joe's spot's going to go blank. You know what I mean? Though, after watching Mahomes just, play like a wild man, earlier in the week, I wanted to see, I thought this was a very good test for Mac. How would he respond being down 20-0? When the game was put on his shoulders, how would he respond? And he showed me a little positive there. I mean, the fact, they got back into the game and they made it, a game. That game, I didn't know if Mac was just going to fold up the tent. The whole team was going to fold up the tent. They showed me that they do have some capability of maybe, being down a couple of TDs and still coming back. I took a little hope out of that.
Yeah, that's a great point. He's no prima donna, this guy. He is a competitor. This guy will get himself dirty. He will take the hit to make the pass. Look, I thought in the second half he was fantastic.
Hey, look, we just saw Brady get shut out by the Saints, right? I mean,
and the Saints is a really bad team. Now, understand, there's some really bad quarterbacks playing.
The Patriots.
You're right.
That was the biggest loss of the year. I mean,
that was Winston as a quarterback. That Hill is a joke. He's not even a good college quarterback.
Oh, I agree, but still, and it wasn't like Mac played well in the second half either. The defense was 90% of that was giving them field position and revamped special teams. The offense still didn't do much. Go look at this, how many yards they got in the total for the game. How many yards passing? Very poor. How many first downs? Not good.
What are you talking about? You hate Mac Daddy.
That's a shot across Scotty's bow right there. That's
what you're
talking about. Yeah, you go look at the spectrum. Yo,
Tom Brady.
Don't question the wonder child, Joe.
You're so off. I'm putting after I put the Jimmy G shirt on, I'm giving it to you to put on. What are you talking about? He was fantastic.
It was 20. They had 20 points at the half. They had 20 points until 2 minutes to go, right? Yeah. The defense kept them in that game.
Look, I think Mac played better in the second half. He was really bad in the first half. That was a C- game. That was a badly quarterbacked game. I agree with Timmy. You bring something out of it that he could fling it around and get a team back in a game late. That's good. He's going to need to follow that up, but we can't have they will not win a playoff game if he plays a game like that. Period.
But they ran very poorly. They were trying to do sweeps and it wasn't working, and they weren't making an adjustment.
I understand that, but you need a quarterback to win you a game at some point in time during a playoff run. It just almost always happens.
Absolutely. And look, are we putting too much pressure on Mac Jones?
Probably are. He's a rookie.
Probably. But he didn't hang his head, give him that much. He wasn't sulking on the sideline like Brady would have been.
He's a quarterback for
an NFL. He tried.
He's an NFL franchise quarterback. He has to be able to do this.
Yep. But we know in 2 years from now, what we know about sports, that he will be qualified to do everything that we're asking him to do.
Yeah, look, that's the bet you're making. You would think that his arm is going to get stronger. He'll know more and more of the playbook. He will have seen all those defenses. You're not going to get any faster, but I think all of those other things are true.
Russ, I worry about that a little bit because, they say the big knock on him was he's at his ceiling already. You're getting a finished product. I know. But a lot of people, were saying this is the Mac Jones finished product. I don't know if that's going to be. Hopefully, he's going to improve. Brady improved. So as much credibility as you can put into what these scouts and predictors have to say. Yeah. We hope that he improves, but that was the big question mark with Mac. He's at his ceiling, and there's not a lot of room for him to go up.
And that was also what they said about Tom Brady.
Yeah, I know.
He'd been, Drew Henson had passed him by. He had been, and he went out. He took the coaching. He worked hard to improve him. The one thing that I'd like to see, and he has improved, is the footwork. That comes with more 2 or 3 more years experience. Instead of retreating in the pocket, moving left, moving right, moving forward, learning how to adapt to your pocket
Right.
and
Well, look,
trust your blockers.
the other thing is he's got the body of a frat boy, for God's sakes. I mean, they need a full year in a program,
They need to
right?
get him my trainer. They're gonna get him on the Tim Hoey training program.
Yeah.
Cigars and jello.
No, that's a great point. I mean, definitely, I'm sure he's going to have a different physique come, in the springtime. But look, the acquisition, we talked about Theo Epstein. Theo Epstein used to have crushes, he used to be Julio Lugo. When Bill Belichick has a crush, it's Hunter Henry, and he's been fantastic. He is everything and more than we could ask for. Wouldn't you agree?
He's been
He
terrific.
came as advertised.
Yeah.
And John Smith, we'd like to see a little more offense out of. I know it seems like when John was in the game, it's a running play. When Hunter's in the game, it's a passing play.
Can we talk about all the penalties too? I mean,
Well, first of all, I just want to mention Janu Smith. It's the verdict is in. He's a bust. He's a bust. They need to cut him after the end of the season. We've seen enough. He can't figure out the play.
They need a blocking tight end. They take Hunter Henry out of every. John will always play 60% of the plays. And you know where the web's going to be by the tight end set. You're gonna have to have. I'd like to see John who catch a ball for once.
Well, Timmy, like you said, the key penalties. We had key penalties that just were affecting the whole game. I mean, it was remarkable that we were that close.
I would have liked to see if they were piping sound in again in Indianapolis. You know what I mean?
It was loud.
Well, how many times did Wynn move before the snap?
Look, if I told you at the beginning of the season, the Patriots would be playing the Bills at home with the chance to win the division, you would have taken that every time. And that's where we're at. Right? So we're in a great position. We have our health. It's going to be interesting. Losing, if Kendrick Bourne can't play on Sunday,
huge.
COVID, that would be a huge loss.
Yeah.
Aguilar is possibly out too. Who are we throwing to?
Tim doesn't want to hear this, but Ramondre Stevenson was not at practice today.
Wow. And how's Harris's?
Hamstrings don't heal in a week or two.
I know.
Well,
I thought not having Harris there really hurt them too. I mean, that 1-2 punch.
You're missing your number one back.
Stevenson coughed the ball up again too, right? I mean, we recovered it, but.
Are we thinking Stevenson has COVID? Is that the rumor?
No, it just said illness. He wasn't placed on the COVID list.
There is a flu going around right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going around.
I know several people have had a cold lately, so.
Belichick didn't sound good on his press conference today either.
Well, this is crazy. Like last night, that kid Gilbert, who's been on the Patriots, the quarterback on the Patriots practice squad a few times, he was starting a game because of COVID. The NHL has suspended play. We know the NFL will never suspend play. They could give a crap about their players at all.
They were good. They were gonna postpone the Seattle Rams game. They almost did, and the Rams and the NFLPA fought hard enough, and they played it.
Yeah, they have to change the rules, don't you think, Russ? I mean, if these guys aren't showing symptoms and stuff, they have to let them play.
Yeah, I think they're moving in that direction. It's just too late in the year for the NFL to make up anything that they postpone. It's just there's no margin for error anymore. There's no more weeks in the schedule. So
all the buys are gone.
Yeah,
and there's never a game that doesn't mean something when it comes to tiebreakers and stuff.
Right.
Strength of schedule and all this stuff. So they have to play the season out right now. But the competitive disadvantage or disadvantage due to COVID is starting to rear its ugly head.
If we have no Stevenson, no Bourne, no Aguilar, I'm picking the Bills.
Harry was at practice. I thought he was going to be a concussion with Aguilar too.
Hey,
but just to be clear, Timmy, it's not clear these guys are going to be out. And Bourne might even be. So 40 more players tested positive today across the NFL, but none for the Patriots. So, like, they're doing a pretty good job at holding up. And I just think it's going to be a crapshoot, come Saturday.
They have to do something with this. If you don't feel sick at all, and you've had the vaccination shots,
They should be able to play.
They have to make some type of adjustment here.
Yeah.
Look at the NHL. They're almost 100% vaccinated, and they've had to shut down for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but that's Canada driving that, right?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Once you go across the board, they're not going to let you back. You got.
That's why they didn't want to go. The Bruins were afraid they were going to get caught on the wrong side of the border.
Over in Ottawa, yeah.
Anti-vaxxer Cole Beasley of the Bills. He's a big loudmouth jerk. He got it, and he's still running his mouth. He gets it. He can't play for 10 days. He knew the rules, and now all of a sudden he doesn't like the rules when it applies to him.
Yep.
He's been out like the whole year. This is like his third time.
He's the biggest piece of crap. I'm shocked because the Bills owners, they're supposed to be very nice family people, and that's a nice organization. I'm shocked that they keep on going.
Well, I think this might be his last year in Buffalo, to be honest with you. I can imagine. They need him right now, but they'll figure that out in the offseason.
But that's a big loss for them when we're talking about, Bourne for Beasley. It's kind of a wash, wouldn't you say?
It's a big
they
loss.
got Diggs still. We don't have anyone of that caliber, that's for sure.
Yeah, they can't run the ball, though, either, other than Josh Allen, which I think you're going to see a lot of Josh Allen running the ball this week.
Okay, N'Keal Harry made a great catch. Yes, he did. After he made that catch, did you think, okay, maybe he's worth salvaging?
No. Yeah, I just think they were desperate. They threw it up. He caught it. If you need a guy who can go downfield, you throw it up and maybe give you a shot. He's your guy.
You have no separation once again, right, Russ?
Yeah.
He will never catch the long ball. He will never ever catch that long ball.
He's proven that.
He just doesn't have it.
All right, boys. The keys to victory for the Patriots on Sunday.
I think it's going to be able to run the ball again, control the clock, keep Josh Allen off the field. Like, why wouldn't? I don't think they're going to run it. I don't think they're going to run it as much as they ran it the first time. But wouldn't you run the ball again on him?
Yeah, and I think they're going to have to contain. I think they learned their lesson. I think Josh Allen's going to run the ball a little more. They're going to have to, really focus on containing him from getting those 20-yard chunks when he takes off with the ball.
Exactly right, Tim.
Yeah, Kyle Van Noy won't be able to freelance like he's been doing and letting him get away like he did in that first game.
They're going to try to keep Diggs, right? I'm sorry, Scott. Go ahead.
I was just saying the Colts game, Judon was probably the quietest and he's been all season. Would you say, Timmy?
Yeah, they probably focused on him, like double teaming him or whatever. I'm not sure. Joe could tell us that.
The Colts have a very, very good offensive line. They got 2 All-Pros on there. They were missing their center, but the guy, you wouldn't have known it by the guy that filled in. He played a good game.
They definitely they were good. I think the Colts are a bad matchup for the Patriots.
Do you really?
I think, the Patriots were still, I came away still the better team. I was listening to the NFL Network the other night, and Pat Kerwin, the moderator, asked everyone, he says, they played again. Who do you think can win? And everyone said New England easily. And Kerwin said, I think the same thing. I'm glad you guys agree.
That coach seems to have the Patriots number, though.
Well, I don't know about that, but Carson Wentz is trash. He's not a professional quarterback.
Look, here's the thing. If they just play again and the Patriots make half of the mistakes that they made, they're going to probably win that game, right?
If they just have half the freaking motion penalties that they had. What are we going to do with that? What's his name? The guy keeps Win. What are we going to do? He just seems like he's getting like 3 motion penalties every game.
He's your left tackle. You need him.
Drive me crazy.
Well, how about who did he tackle? Who did Isaiah Wynn
Oh,
tackle? Stevenson?
Stevenson. Yeah,
I made the bloopers highlights for the week. You know what I mean?
that was like the butt fumble.
It really was. It almost became a butt fumble. It was just just like, oh, that's great. Isaiah's making tackles now.
It shows
too.
you how big these guys are because he just bumped into him and he knocked him for a loop.
Well, I think Russ, the Patriots are regretting picking up his 5th-year option at big bucks, right?
Yeah. Look, the good news is they've got, they have to figure out what to do with Trent Brown, but they've got Onwenu who, look, Joe, you could move theoretically. You could move if they were done with Wynn right now, if they just don't trust him, you can move Trent Brown over to left tackle and put Onwenu as right tackle and give it a shot, right?
Yeah, and just finding tackles is hard right now. It seems to be one of the toughest, left and right tackle, the toughest to get quality players.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like if they wanted to sit Wynn down
This season.
Yeah, oh yeah.
they've got another tackle.
Do you see the Patriots looking for a new lineman in the draft pretty high this year?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the Patriots' priority is you have a stud young quarterback. You got to get a stud young wide receiver.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Oh, we're not getting him to the draft.
like Russ said, let's have the Green Bay take whoever does that for the Green Bay Packers or teams or the Steelers, hire them, and they're the guys that pick the wide receiver.
Yeah.
It's glaring.
Over, it seems like, right? I mean, we don't get them in the draft. No matter what we do, we don't get them.
Well, you can still get a good serviceable tackle like Matt Light, Cannon in the second round. So when he was 6th rounder.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can get them. You don't have to use a top 10 pick.
No.
Get a serviceable tackle, but they are hard to come by.
Would we dare take a receiver in the first round again? I mean, would they even
No, probably
ever
not.
think about doing that? I mean,
Pittsburgh taking a little trade.
the greatest guy in history could be sitting there when we pick, and the guy would screw up somehow.
Well, DJ Metcalf, I mean, that's just a huge screw up. Huge.
We traded Trevor Maddich for Jerry Rice. That's all you need to know about.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I know.
We gave them Jerry Rice for clever Trevor Maddich. He was on broadcasting college football 3 years later.
I know. Oh my God, well, that's right.
Joe, we had Jerry Rice.
We could have drafted him, yeah.
We swapped picks with San Fran, and so they could pick Jerry Rice, and we picked Trevor Maddich 2 picks later.
Yeah, thanks for reminding
At the end of the first round.
Well, you're saying that Jerry Rice could have fit in that current team. I don't know if there was a spot for him.
He would look terrible then. No, that was Brogan.
Hey, by the way, guys, Jerry Rice would be like the second best receiver on this team right now if he was playing.
No, it's true. Well, if Jerry Rice was in the NBA, he'd be on the Celtics roster right now. We'll get to that in a little bit. Oh my, we got to talk about that. Keys to victory right now for me, it's really I think what like Timmy talked about, you can't let Josh Allen get 3 to 5 first downs with his legs.
Totally agree.
I agree.
Oh yeah, you got to control him. Those off the ball linebackers have got to contain. I know ours are a little old, a little slow, but maybe with Josh Uche and back, get a little speed to kind of fence him in.
Allen's a real runner when he takes off. He's a real legit speed, makes cuts, gobbles up a lot of yards in a little amount of time.
And he's a big kid.
Yeah, he'll drop the shoulder.
45, he's big.
Well, this is good. 44 is the over and under. I gotta believe it's going to be in the over. It just feels like it's going to be a high scoring game.
Do we know what the weather's like on Sunday? What's the weather supposed to be?
It's supposed to be, I think, in the 40s right now. I think it's supposed to be fine. So Sunday is, now we're talking about 30% chance of rain, the high 38, the low. 40% of snow, this breaking news.
So we're hoping for bad weather, correct?
Good question. No, I like this. I think the Patriots are just fine with
the
the weather.
Patriots can handle themselves.
Yeah,
I
don't
think the
we
bad
need
weather
it.
favors the Patriots. I think the more this game stays on the ground, the more it goes in the Patriots' favor.
That's if Stevenson is playing. You know,
As long as one of those guys is playing, they'll be fine. Just need
If
one
you
of
get
them.
Harris or Stevenson, you're
But I
fine.
think Allen's the superior quarterback here. And
the most
Oh, yeah.
important thing is that Brandon Bolden's playing. That is the most important.
Absolutely.
Well, they got JJ Taylor back, so they might have him active for like first practice, second game.
he can't miss a chance, Russ, can he? He can't miss
Nope.
a chance. No.
So Russ has had, I think, the two love affairs in the 7 years plus that we've been doing this show. Mitchie Two Bags, who I just want to mention, Mitchie was a Jeopardy question. Did you hear this? He was a Jeopardy question, and the fucking researchers fucked it up. They called him Mitchie Four Bags. This is true. They were just saying his nickname is Mitchie Four Bags. What sport does he play? And the woman answered baseball. But it's not even Mitch. That's not his nickname.
If Russell watched that show, there would have been a letter written. That's all I can say.
Apoplectic.
So Mitchie Two Bags and Brandon Bolden, would you consider in the last 7 years your two man crushes?
Just this year for Brandon Bolden, I thought he was a schlub until this year, but he's played well this year.
Remember, he did
Fall in
kill
love.
when he played for Miami. He killed us single-handedly.
He did. He wiped us out that year. Yeah.
And he doesn't deny. James Young was the devil reincarnated for you, right? Is that? Am I missing anything right now?
Just the worst. Just a big waste of flesh and oxygen. Terrible.
I just love to get him going.
God.
All right, boys.
Well, I think Grant Williams is becoming the Brandon Bolden of the Celtics.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
he's
got
growing
it.
on him.
Oh, Grant Williams is growing on you, Joe?
40.
He's growing on me too.
Listen,
45%.
I did an interview with Scalabrini today on, I think it was EEI, and he was talking about Grant Williams like he was the second coming of Bill Walton, for God's sakes. I mean,
Grant Williams has been fantastic this year.
apparently they say he's got one of the highest basketball IQs on the team. And
He's leading the team in 3-point shot.
And a lot of the
He's sort of like Paul Silas, though. No one covers him. That's
And the
right.
thing- that's
He's
the
always wide open threes.
his basketball intellect is off the charts. I mean, the schemes and everything else that they try to implement there, and he's one of the only guys that really goes with it. That's what Scalabrini was saying.
Well, he's been kissing Williams' ass to me since he got in the league. I mean,
Anyone over
Grant
6'5",
Williams makes the pass.
Scal loves.
when he hands it off to Pritchard, he'll start screaming what a great handoff it was. I mean, Scalabrini is a clown.
Can we get back to our picks from last week and who lost that? Do you think we could revisit that for a minute?
What was
Was
I?
it another pick?
Wait. I think I was 28-24, Joe. What were you?
I was like 24, 20.
And Russell, what were you?
I had the Patriots losing by 4 points. I think it was 27-23.
You don't have that tattooed to your forehead?
Yeah.
That leaves
Johnny,
one
what was
for-
your? Can you remind the viewers of your pick?
I had the Patriots winning.
By like 28 points, something like that. Oh, his screen
Maybe
froze.
30. Three scores.
That screen froze. No, I had him. I don't know.
I think we both lost a couple of quid on that one too.
Yeah, we did. I know we lost $100 each.
Max's friend is in Miami right now, living it up. You know.
I know that sucked big time. Yeah, Max immediately sent me a collection notice. You owe me $100. That sucked.
No,
We're used to winning.
we bet 100. We owe 160. I figured that'd be getting 160. Right?
Yeah, that broke my 9-game betting streak.
I know.
Yeah.
And do you want to? I'm just killing time while you take your victory lap. Do you want to run around the house?
No, it just speaks for itself. I'm not. You know, I just one. It's just one game. It may not happen again. But there was an implication. There was a consequence, if I remember, to losing the bet.
I know, but I don't have the shirt. I'd wear it right now. I don't.
Okay.
Well, he had it on before this, but then he took it off.
Let me tell you something. Hey, Timmy, is there any doubt in your mind that had I lost that bet, I would have got a FedEx delivery on Tuesday morning?
Oh, doubt about it. You would have registered mail.
Oh, I can't get the shirt. The shirt's in Brookline. He lives walking.
Can you sign for this package, please? I mean, would have been on guard with it. Would have come into a Brinks truck.
You definitely would have been having that delivered to Canton. That's for damn sure. You're accurate. All right, boys, prediction time. What's the spread? What are the Patriots favored by about 3?
2.5.
2.5 right now.
Probably around here with the book, you're going to pay 3.5.
Yeah. All right, Joe. What's the score? And wait, does this decide who wears the shirt next week?
You're going to have to wear that shirt, dude. Like, we're not, I don't know how we're going to rectify this.
We don't skip a week.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll wear the shirt first half of the show, and then the next.
Sure.
Okay, that sounds good.
Does that work? Is that placate you all?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Jesus, right? Wow. So I won't get any vicious.
Unless you lose
vicious.
again, if you lose again, in which case you'll be wearing it for all of the show.
We have Rocco and Guido delivering it to you, Scotty, too. So you're gonna guard you while you wear it.
Oh my God! All right, Joseph, tell me, come on, what's going to happen in the game?
21-10 Patriots.
Wow! So they don't cover. The over under.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'll go with the under. You'd say in bad weather. The Patriots are probably going to be running the ball again.
Okay. 21-10 sounds a little light, but we'll see. All right, Rusty boy.
I'm gonna pick the Bills 24-23.
Wow, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Really? Why?
Because I think
the second half of the show too.
I know.
I think Josh Allen is gonna have a little bit of a party on the Patriots lawn on Sunday. I think he's gonna do a lot of things. It's gonna be hard for them to beat him.
You realize if we win this game, we win the division.
Yeah.
And we have a great chance because the Chiefs have played 3 tough teams.
Yeah.
We have a great chance to have the number 1 seed. If we lose this game, we very well could be out of the playoffs at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, if we beat Jacksonville and Miami, we'll still make the playoffs, even if we lose this game. We'll get a wild card. We got a really, really good conference record still. So,
but it changes everything. So
yeah,
I mean, this is the game of the season. I think again. Let Timmy tell me what you think.
I think it's going to be the Bills also. I think it's going to be 28-21 the Bills. I think one of them is going to be a pick 6 by the Patriots running it back. But I'll go. I think we kind of got away with one up in the weather there against Josh Allen. I think I think our running game's a little beat up right now, and we were really dependent on that. And I just don't see Mac Daddy carrying us through. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Timmy's 28-21. Rusty boy, what are you?
24-23.
All right, so you're all right. Okay, I just want to know the whole bet thing. The Patriots are going to win, fellas. They're going to win.
I hope so.
And I think they're going to win big. I think that I'm not sold on the Buffalo Bills one way at all. McDermott's a joke as a coach. He's a clown.
I'm writing this down.
Patriots win 35-10. Yeah, that's right. This feels like a Super Bowl. 35-10. And if you pick the losing team, you are eliminated, and you're a candidate for the shirt. I just want to mention that.
I will gladly wear the shirt if the Patriots pull it out. Happily.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. But I think the Patriots, I did 35-10 too. I think it's the over too. It just feels like there's going to be offense in this game.
That crawls right over 45.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I did that, Joseph. All right, boys. Joe Johnson. All right. Not everybody who's watching this show will know what Jump the Shark is, but Jump the Shark is Happy Days, right?
Yes.
That's Henry.
Fonzie jumped the shark in a leather coat.
Yeah.
On a motorcycle. Great white shots. They ran out of ideas for episodes.
Yeah, and that was it. He jumped the shark. That the NBA is not suspending the season.
That phrase was coined by John Hine from the Howard Stern show, by the way.
Is that right? If the NBA is not suspending the season right now, which is ludicrous, instead allowing the Celtics to bring back Joe Johnson, who hasn't even played in the league since 2018, was drafted by the Celtics in 2001.
Tore us apart in the playoffs, right?
Even Tom Brady came in.
Has this jumped the shark, guys?
Look, I don't think I don't know how the NBA defends this when the NHL did what was supposed to be done, which was just hit pause, get everyone a chance to separate, isolate, get healthy, and then come back, fight another day 10 days later.
Well, to be fair, the NHL does have that 2-week break that they've already scheduled in for the Olympics. And all they have to do is just cancel the team, go into the Olympics.
How much money
They did that.
How much money is lined up in those Christmas Day NBA games, though? I mean,
A lot. It's all money. So it's all money.
Half
Agreed.
to be sitting in front of their TVs watching those basketball games. There's a lot of Donati rolling on those games.
And they'll be watching the Joe Johnsons and Trey Waters.
All these families that really don't want to talk to each other, they can just sit and watch basketball all day.
Right.
No, that's a great point. That's why when they came back in the COVID season 2 years ago, they came back for the Christmas Day games. Apparently, they make a boatload of money on those games, and they have to have them in their schedule.
Every family in the world is
They don't make any more.
I know, with all the teenagers in my family right now, my nephews and everything, they're glued to the games.
So they'll play, like you said, they'll play Joe Johnson.
Hang on. Here's the thing, though. They signed Joe Johnson. They still have 8 guys. They didn't. None of those guys they signed played the other night. They just played 7 guys. If they don't get any more, COVID positives, you're not going to see Joe. You really not. You may see Joe Johnson playing garbage time. I don't think you're going to see Joe Johnson playing equal minutes for this team.
Joe Johnson made $221 million in his career, and he's still looking for temp work.
He must be in good shape, though. He must be taking care of himself if he's even in consideration with all the guys rolling around the CBA, and he's the best that they can come up with.
Look, they're still. I know the guy's still looking to be
the G League or whatever they call it. I'm sorry.
If he get a 10-day contract at the minimum.
Yeah, but like the other, if you love basketball, you're not ready to retire. You feel like you can still play. Why not? Why not go out and see if you can play well? Get a contract for the rest of the year.
How old is he?
I don't know what his age is.
Joe Johnson.
He's got to be 40.
He's probably late, super late 30s, 38, 39, 40. Yeah.
It almost
18.
I tell you, to me personally, it feels like replacement players.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Here, I mean, it just this and Adam Silver. It's an embarrassment because we've said a lot of positive things about Adam Silver as the commissioner of basketball, but this is a low moment in his tenure.
He's 40 years old, by the way. 40.
But
that's unheard of in basketball for a non-big man,
But look, the product that the NBA churns out on a normal night is questionable. I mean, now this, like you said, Joe, Trey Waters is back in the league.
Yeah.
And where's Carson Edwards?
And I love IT, and he's back in the league, but he doesn't belong in the league anymore.
No, Carson Edwards will be back in the league. Where's Jared Sullinger? Where's Big Baby?
He's right around the corner, Russ.
Yeah, and if Fab Melo hadn't passed away, he'd be the backup center for the Celtics tonight.
All I can remember about Sullinger is the hugest ass I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my God, incredible!
You could show movies on that thing on the drive-in.
Wasn't he the MVP in the championships of the league he plays in?
I go to the games for my seats. All I could talk about was look at the size of that guy's rear end.
He's
enormous.
Yep, as big as
like nobody.
Are we being held hostage? I have to be honest with you. Do you guys like watching Jason Tatum play basketball?
No.
He's frustrated.
He's played better lately. I did like it for the first third of the year. And then probably the last 10 or 12 games, you're starting to see him. He's making more plays. He's throwing more passes. He's taking the ball to the rim. So generally speaking, my answer would be no. But if he continues to play like he's playing,
you know what?
That's
I
good.
saw,
That's
I saw a line that caught my eye in the paper about Jason Tatum the other day. His hero three-pointer attempts.
Yeah.
He kind of gets lazy, and he thinks, they get down a little bit, and he comes down, and really without working a play or whatever, he just heaves up the three. You know, not good percentage threes. He just heaves them up there. And another thing about him, if I have to see him with 10 seconds left in a game, dribble, 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 step back, you know, the whole place knows he's shooting the ball. He doesn't attempt to run a play. He just dribbles and dribbles. The guy right in the
Do you understand that that's a coaching decision?
I know.
He's been so that's the coach's fault. I totally agree with you, Timmy. But the coach has basically called the clear out everything for Jason Tatum, just like we used to do it for Paul Pierce.
Yeah,
that's a coaching thing.
I don't like it.
But
20%.
But that Jason Tatum refuses to drive to the basket. That's what I think Timmy's saying. In that time, that's on Tatum.
Well, yeah, but that to Joe, I just said Joe just he has been taking the ball to the rim more. But the end of the game plays is horrible, and it's the coaching, and it is Tatum, and it's the secondary players. It's a complete disaster.
End of the quarter, end of the half, end of the game.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
And it's a difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, that's their 1 point down end of a game play. They have to get better at it.
Yeah.
But they got too many guys that stand around, and then Tatum tries to move with the ball. He turns it over, or it's an offensive foul every time. And it goes like the other night from a 7-point lead to losing by 7, in the space of a minute and a half.
I've heard too that when Tatum has the ball, Brown tends to just stand around and not move.
They all do.
So, guys, when we talk about past Celtics and trying to compare present Celtics, would you compare Jaylen Brown to Reggie Lewis?
Yeah, comparison, but not on
athleticism. Comparable.
They're very similar players.
Comparable athleticism, I would say.
See, I just feel like when you talk about 3 stars and stuff, and you try to put them in a spot. I think Jaylen Brown is a nice complementary player, but he's not a star.
I don't think he's all-star level.
I don't know. I think he up until this year, and he's been injured this year. The one thing Jaylen Brown has done is he's gotten better every year, demonstrably better.
If we broke NBA players into 5 sections, one being the best, would you put Jason Tatum about 2.5?
I mean, yeah, right now probably. I think he's a 2, and I think Brown's sort of a 3.
Okay, there you go. That's what I wanted to hear. Yeah, with that kind of. I mean, so when you're going out there, you need to get a lead dog. Do you need? I mean, are we? Is Tatum a 2 and 3?
Well, they're in trouble because you can't get a lead dog unless you trade Brown, right? Yeah, a real lead dog, like a top 10 player. Tatum is in the 12 to 20 range.
Tatum, though, has flashes of being the best guy on the court, no matter who's on the court at moments. You know what I mean? And that's what's frustrating to me about Tatum. He shows me what he can be when he is really focused in, when he's driving to the basket, when he's being his best. The problem with him is consistency. He doesn't bring that level of.
Although I would say one thing to me though is they're asking him to do more than he should be doing, and he's more than willing to accept it. The bottom line is with this team this year, they do not have enough good shooters on this team. Period. The reason why the Celtics are where they are right now. Take a look at those 3-point shooting percentages. It's atrocious. It's atrocious. They should be surrounding those 2 guys with guys who can shoot.
Well,
they haven't done it.
Nesmith has just not developed.
Terrible.
They thought he would. He was supposed to be the shooter. That's why he got drafted.
Right. When we're joking around about Grant Williams, but it's a joke that Grant Williams is the best 3-point shooter on that team. It's a joke.
Lately, Richardson has become
better.
He was awful at first.
We're missing a guy like a Marcus Morris type player.
Exactly.
He would fit nicely on this team right now.
Yep.
But Brad did very well with the complementary players, the Schroeders, the Richardsons, the Horfords. He's done very well getting those veterans in there who have contributed.
But the Richardson's not playing consistent enough. I mean, is he a threat? I mean, not really. Not when I think of the Middletons of the world and guys like that.
Right. That's right, Tim.
Well, he's not that level.
No,
But you know, Danny Ainge,
player. Middleton's not the guy. He's one of the guys. You know,
Danny Ainge never valued it, and Brad didn't value it this offseason. Is you take guys like Kyle Korver, Joe Harris, Buddy Hield, just guys who are just pure shooters, and we've never had one of those guys.
Nothing Scott Wentz.
Buddy Hield is on the market.
Right.
Yeah, Eddie House would be the last one, right?
Eddie House,
Yep,
that name just came out of my mouth too.
That's right.
You need a guy who can come in
Steve
and get
Kerr.
12 points in
Isaiah Thomas
minutes.
was that guy, but then he became a starter.
They become so busy covering your stars, and they leave a guy like that open, and he buries you. You know, kills you. Andrew Toney.
But this is a very frustrating season because it's pretty clear they are a 500 team and they're not going off that. What are you doing as far as watching the Celtics? What are you looking for entertainment?
Turning on with Joe.
Yeah, I mean, right now,
I like watching Schroeder, but he's not a three-point shooter. He's got a nice mid-range jumper.
Yeah.
If he can get it.
What I'm looking for the rest of the year is seeing. You got to give these younger guys a chance to develop one way or another, because you need to know what you have. And the problem right now is, when you're playing Richardson and Schroeder in front of them, you don't know. Like Pritchard only this week has gotten a chance. He was fantastic last year. He's gotten no run this year,
Nothing. He's just, he is just.
I'd rather, if they're going to be mediocre, Scotty, you've been saying they're a 500 team all year. If they're going to be 500, wouldn't you rather them be 500 with the young guys playing?
Yeah, absolutely. Have some evaluation of the young players and see if these guys are the future or not.
Right.
Yeah, Brad should tell Ime, you're not coaching for your life. You can put the young guys in.
Speaking
And
of
if you can trade Horford, Schroeder, and Richardson, you go ahead and do that. If you can send Marcus Smart out the door, the next championship the Celtics win, Marcus Smart will not be on that team. Would you agree with that?
Probably right.
This had to come up. This had to come up.
Well, no, come on. You've come to my side with Marcus Smart. You've been coming for a while.
I still like a lot about the guy,
I know,
but is he the problem? He could be the problem. You know what I mean?
One of the three of them
That
is
was
the
a
problem.
jump technical the other day.
Yeah, look, Marcus is a nice player, but they need to move forward. They have a new young coach.
Speaking
he
of Marcus,
needs to be the main voice on that team.
speaking of
All right,
Marcus,
boys.
that foul from three-quarter court.
Oh, that was awful with the
One of the
technical.
craziest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's
I
done
was
some
at the
great
game. I was at the game, and everybody just thought the half was over. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, there's discussion, and people are looking around like, "What happened?"
It was also a bad call by the ref.
Yeah, but the thought that Marcus Smart fouled a guy trying to take a three-quarter shot was not conception.
He does that at least once a year. We've had those before. He did something, I think, last year on a jump ball or something stupid at the end of a quarter or something. We were talking about the same thing. All right, boys. My sources are telling me that David Ortiz, Big Papi, maybe you heard of him, is going to make the Hall of Fame in the first ballot. How happy are you guys?
He should.
Great.
He just got a divorce too, right? We're gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
With the inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, he wants to get his name in the news, so they'll vote for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had
Raise that Q factor.
they had an arrangement, those two. Yeah,
He's having kids all over the Dominican while he's married up here. You know what I
the
mean?
man got almost murdered because he was fooling around with a drug kingpin's girlfriend or something.
He's around the Dominican right now. I'd like to know.
Yeah. Look, we don't talk about the stink that's possibly the steroid stink on Big Papi because we ignore that stuff. But that was kind of the issue. But if he gets in the first ballot, there really wasn't an issue.
And he's so lovable. I mean, that's something he's got going for him. He's after the marathon, that brilliant speech he made. Steve brought it up on our previous show. I mean, The guy's so lovable. He's done so many great things. If anyone should get in there, I think it's David Ortiz.
Yeah, that's a great point, Timmy. If we're going to make character an issue, and they've made that with Pete Rose and Bonds and Clemens stuff, let's go the other way too. If you're a guy who's contributed to a community like Big Papi has, then that should mean something.
Yeah, he's
Well,
contributed.
it's supposed to mean something. In baseball, it's different from the other Hall of Fames, where character is part of the equation written in the Constitution of the Hall of Fame. In football, it doesn't matter. You can be Lawrence Taylor and make the Hall of Fame. In baseball, it's different.
The guy's, from what I've seen, I don't know what his real life is like, but from his public perception, he's been a great ambassador for Boston, and a great ambassador for baseball all around.
Yeah, I think also from what I'm hearing, looks like Clemens and Bonds may sneak in and get it. Do you guys have a problem with that?
I
For
don't.
some reason, I have a problem with Bonds. Just the arrogance of the guy. And I mean, Clemens is in that arrogance level too. I mean, talk about getting caught with your hand in the cookie jar. I mean, multiple times, both of them. And the arrogance that they had, when Bonds broke that record, and that was just a record that shouldn't have been. There's something about him breaking the record and his denial of the whole thing that just rubs me the wrong way. And the same thing with Clemens. So I have a problem with both of them getting in.
Rossi boy?
The biggest problem is going to be the National League writers not going to vote for a DH. They don't consider him a complete ball player, and that's half your voters.
Here's the problem with all this is, how do you determine who crossed the threshold, who crossed the line, and who didn't? Right? Like, can any of us say for sure that Ortiz didn't use steroids?
No.
He fit the profile, right? Big guy, got bigger,
But better.
power, tons and tons of power, came out of nowhere.
What other sport you get better as you get older, right?
Yeah,
But also got
so
cut from a team. Next thing you know, he's on a new
2
team.
years later, he's hitting 54 home runs. So it's like I don't know, and the problem is we don't really know. Like, we know with Clemens and Bonds, but where do you draw the line? Jeff Bagwell's in the Hall of Fame. He looked like a guy who could easily have been a user, right? It's really hard. So I think you've got to go one way or another and say, if I'm going to ignore it all, and I'm just going to look at the numbers, and that way Bonds and Clemens are in, or I'm not going to ignore it and I'm going to try to play judge and jury.
Russell, say you're a writer, right? You have a vote. How do you vote?
At this point, and it's changed.
Wait, how much
over the last 5 years?
How much of this probability factor do you put into it?
I would vote for them all at this. I would consider all of them on the ballot at this point, because I don't think I could judge whether Ortiz did or didn't, if Bagwell did or didn't, or BGO didn't. Well, it's interesting because I think Sean McAdam has come up with I think a good standard. His point was he's not voting for A-Rod and Manny Ramirez because they did it way after the fact. Like, they weren't part of that first. They did it after everyone had been warned, it had been outlawed, and they still went ahead and did it.
Manny got jammed up with twice.
Exactly. That's just thumbing your nose at the whole.
How about you, Joe? Which way do you vote?
I vote for Papi in there, but I just want to warn us all. I saw one New York writer's ballot, and he voted for Bonds, but he kept Papi off. He's a National League guy.
How about Clemens?
Clemens wasn't on his ballot.
Oh, I mean, what would you vote?
I put Clemens in.
Bonds
The
too?
only ones I really wouldn't like would be Sosa and
McGuire?
Who was the one
McGuire?
Rafi Palmeiro.
McGuire and Bonds, and who was the one that Palmeiro?
Yeah.
He lied right under oath. He lied.
How about you, Scotty?
Look, I put in Manny. I put in guys that I think would have been Hall of Famers had they not taken steroids. Manny, the Sosa would not have been a Hall of Famer. Palmeiro, not a Hall of Famer. Manny, yes. Barry Bonds had a Hall of Fame career before he started that stuff. Roger Clemens, yes. So I put those guys in. A-Rod, Absolutely, I put him into.
Now, does Pappy fit that equation, though, Scotty?
Big Poppy's absolutely in. Big
Wait,
Poppy.
wait. But Scotty, you're going against what you just said.
No, I'm voting all of them in.
But Pappy would not have been in there without the. He had a mediocre career, and then all of a sudden he popped.
No, Big Poppy's my favorite player.
I know, but going off,
he matured, Tim.
Scotty, but he matured. Going off your criteria, he fits
No, true.
over the
But
same
steroids,
criteria.
he's the greatest clutch hitter in the history. I would argue the history of baseball.
What was he before? What was he before?
But it wasn't steroids that
He
was
had the
clutch
opportunity
hitter.
before either.
But also, Timmy, he's a huge man. He's a huge man. So I question how much steroids would have helped him compared to Bagwell, who I used to follow Bagwell's career in the minor leagues. He had like 3 home runs for New Britain, the season before when we traded him for Larry Anderson. So that was a joke. Big Poppy's a huge guy. He was going to take out a lot of pitches.
How about Brady Anderson?
Yeah, right. The Brady Andersons of the world. But yeah, I'm all about putting these guys in, and let's just pop the pimple and let's move on.
Yeah.
I like that analogy, though. Would they have been in without it? And
Yeah. And
I'm shocked.
Sammy Sosa, no way.
Break the record anyway.
Sammy
You
Sosa
could
came out of nowhere. He came out.
You could argue that Manny Ramirez is at the very least one of the 5 top right-handed hitters of all time.
Greatest right-handed swing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So then, and he doesn't even get considered. Really, to be honest with you, when you hear about the discussion, nobody even brings him up.
That again, that's because he was a
himself.
2-time loser. He did it after all of this happened, and he still did it.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I put Clemens in that category too, though.
But Clemens was a top pitcher. I mean, look,
Well,
but okay, was
teams.
Clemens a Hall of Fame pitcher when he left the Red Sox?
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so there's the answer.
Knocking on the door.
Okay, so there you go. So, and that's when he clearly started once he got to the Blue Jays. Would you say that was when he started?
Yeah, obviously.
Because he that last season he was pitching for the Red Sox, he was god awful.
Yeah. That's why Duquesne wanted him gone.
Yeah. All right, we finish up with the Bruins. Can they just get Tuukka Rask on the team? I'm so tired of hearing about it.
What if he can't play?
What do you
They'll
mean?
make that decision.
I don't think goaltending's the issue for this team, though.
What do you mean he can't play? You mean if he can't play in what way?
If the injury is going to preclude him from playing at the professional level. They've had him skating with them for a month now, and they haven't offered him a contract.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So they don't think he's at that level.
Well, they keep the last I heard was 2 days ago, and Cassidy said, wait and see. He's rounding into shape now. We have to see if he can perform, and then the negotiations will begin.
Well, I saw Cassidy in a press conference, and you can tell coach's body language. We've seen it in this, all of us, for 50 years. Cassidy doesn't look like he likes his team a whole lot.
There's not a lot to like.
Yeah.
Big talent drain. Big talent drain.
This is what's driving me crazy about the Bruins right now. They were picking on Bergeron a couple of weeks ago. They didn't have one guy that they could send out there to send a message. Where have the big bad Bruins gone? I mean,
They don't have to be big.
I know hockey has changed, but you got to have a couple of tough guys on this team. You have to. Sorry,
Because Timmy would rather lose a game 3-2 and win 3 fights than win the game 3-2. And that's it. That's what we're gonna say. And that's the Grandstanders. Well, that's our show for tonight, boys. That's an hour and a half of shows. You guys did awesome. I appreciate it. We want to thank everyone behind the scenes. Corbin's last show. Let's give it up for Corbin. Thanks again, Corbin. We appreciate you and wish you the best of luck.
So much for us.
A true superstar, and we know he's gonna be the best moving forward in whatever he
Monday Night Football someday.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Look for his credits every time after an ESPN show.
Al Michaels saying, "Let's thank Corbin down in the truck."
Exactly. Oh, there's no question that's happening. All right, I want to thank the fellows. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune again next Wednesday night at 6:30. for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.